Crocodile Dundee wasn't just a movie. It became a global hit with a character everyone loved. But behind Mick's smile and bush skills, there are some wild and strange stories. From real-life inspiration to dangerous sets and unexpected romance, here are 10 weird facts you probably didn't know about this legendary Aussie film. Mick was based on a real man. The character of Crocodile Dundee was inspired by Rod Ansell, a real bushman who survived alone in the Australian wild for 2 months. He drank cow blood and ate bugs to stay alive. Sadly, his life ended in a tragic shootout with police years later, a dark twist to the fun movie character he inspired. Paul Hogan made the movie himself. Before Dundee, Paul Hogan was just a funny guy on Australian TV. No Hollywood studio wanted his movie idea. They thought it was too weird and too Aussie. So he paid for it himself. That big risk turned into a huge success. The movie made over $300 million worldwide, becoming Australia's biggest film ever. The US version cut 60 jokes. When American studios saw the original film, they didn't get many of the Aussie jokes. So they cut or changed over 60 lines to make it easier for US audiences. Words like fair dinkum were dropped. Ironically, even the edited version became a blockbuster, but Aussie fans still say the original version is the real deal. A real crocodile crashed the set. While filming near a river, a real crocodile showed up on set, attracted by leftover food. It scared the cast and crew, and filming had to stop for the day. After that, they had armed safety staff on every water scene. Even though many crocs in the movie were fake, this one was very real. That buffalo scene was real. In the famous scene where Mick freezes a water buffalo with his hand, it wasn't just acting. The buffalo wouldn't stay still, so they gave it a light sedative. Paul Hogan held the pose just long enough for the camera to catch it. What looks like bush magic was really just timing and a sleepy buffalo. The hat was Hogan's own. Mick's rugged leather hat wasn't just a costume, it was Paul Hogan's personal hat. He had worn it for years before filming. When asked to use a new one for better lighting, Hogan refused. So the crew made perfect copies to match it exactly. But between takes, Hogan always wore the original. Paul Hogan was mistaken for a real bushman. While filming in New York, Hogan dressed as Mick Dundee and walked through the streets. Locals didn't know he was acting and thought he was a real bushman. People asked for directions, advice, and even hunting tips. Hogan played along, even when the cameras weren't rolling. The romance was real. Paul Hogan and Linda Kozlowski, who played the reporter Sue, weren't just acting. They fell in love while making the movie. At the time, Hogan was married, but he and Kozlowski later got together for real and were married for over 20 years. Their chemistry started on screen, but became a real love story. The knife line was improvised. "That's not a knife. That's a knife," wasn't in the original script. Paul Hogan made it up during filming. It became the movie's most famous line, quoted for decades. That small moment of improvisation turned into one of the most legendary movie quotes ever, and it wasn't even planned. The subway ending was personal. The final scene in the subway came from a real moment in Hogan's life. He once tried to say goodbye to someone in a busy station but couldn't get close. That feeling of being lost in a crowd inspired the emotional ending. It wasn't just written, it was remembered, which is why it feels so real. Crocodile Dundee wasn't just a fun film. It was full of real risks, real love, and real Aussie grit. These behind-the-scenes facts show why it still connects with people around the world.